All right, as we get started today, we're going to begin with another speed drill 39 at the bottom of page 17. Question? Today is, as we record, the 26th, 2/26/24. Speed drill number 39 at the bottom of page 17. Notice numbers 1 through 3. You're finding the square root. Think about what square root means. It means what number multiplied by itself would give this. For instance, this isn't on here, but if it asked for the square root of 36, well, what number times itself would give 36, class?
6.
So that would be the square root of 36. Do we understand what that means for numbers 1, 2, and 3?
Yep.
What number multiplied by itself gives this number? For numbers 4, 5, and 6, notice on 4 and 5 you're squaring. They tried to get you on number 6. They're asking you to cube something. So be careful with that. And then we've got some signed number practice, some adding. There's one subtraction problem. Of course, we know, bless you, we never subtract in algebra class. We add the inverse. Then we got a multiplication problem, division problem. So just a little bit of algebra type operations going on here. You have 2 minutes to do speed test 39. You may begin. Bless you. Stop. All right, put your pencils off your desks and just have a pen exchange with the person behind you, person in the back, bring yours to the front. Exchange with the person behind you, person in the back, bring yours to the front. Sign your name at the bottom of the page as the grader. Sign your name at the bottom of the page as the grader. Several of you done with well over a minute to go. So some of you finished in about 40 seconds. That was impressive. Well, it will be if you got 100 and finished in 40 seconds. Otherwise, it's just sad. Anyway, let's take a look at speed drill 39. These are 8 points each. 8 points each. Number 1 is 5. 5. Number 2, 8. 8. Number 3 is 12. 12. Number 4 is 64. 64. Number 5 is 225. 225. Number 6 is 8. 8. Number 7 is -6. -6. Signs are the same, add and keep the sign. Number 8 is +5 or just 5. Signs are different, subtract, keep the sign of the greater. Number 9 is -2. -2, again, signs are different, subtract, keep the sign of the greater. Number 10, when you add the inverse, it becomes -3 plus +3. Those are additive inverses. So your answer is just 0. 0. Number 11, when you multiply the same or opposite signs, you always get a negative. So -20. -20. And number 12, when you divide, if the signs are the same, it's an automatic positive. So +4 or just 4. They are 8 points each. Figure the score to the best of your ability. Put in the score blank. Also, if you would, put it next to where it says Speed Drill 39 on the score page. Speed Drill 39 on the score page. Just one more speed drill left in this quarter. And then again, these will all be averaged together for one quiz grade. All right, return to the owners, so pass it forward to the person in front of you, or person in the front, take it all the way to the back. Take a look at your scores. And were there any, waiting for Kirsten to get hers, there we go. Were there any hundreds today? Several hundreds. How about 92s? You only missed one thing. Okay, how about 84? Just missed a couple. Are there any questions on here? Any questions on here? Going once? Going twice? Gone. Pass them forward if you would, please. Pass those forward if you would, please. Have your supplements out. Open to page 30. Pass those forward if you would, please, and have your supplements open to page 30. In our last lesson on Friday, I asked you to look over a set of terms on page 30 there at the top. Some terms that you'll need to know for your test. Now, there's more terms than just this. Again, this test covers everything we've talked about so far in the supplement. We'll be doing the rest of our review, of course, tomorrow. But page 30 there at the top has a set of terms that we've talked about since talking about different expenses and taxes and things like that. I asked you to star terms at the top of page 30 that you were not particularly familiar with. So let's go through these together and just talk about them, and then we'll get to our homework in a moment. Adjusted gross income. How would you describe adjusted gross income? If your parents are like, taxes. It talks about adjusted gross income. We're like, Mom, I got you. See, here's what it is. How would you describe it for us? Bryson?
See, this might sound a little bit watered down, but like...
That's okay, as long as it's accurate.
Like, after taxes, and like, after you pay all the taxes, like, FICA and like Medicare, that's like the money that you still have in your income.
Oh, that is a term we need to know, but it's not adjusted gross income. Class, what's he describing?
Taxable income? No.
Net income. He was describing net income. He said what you get after it's like the FICA and the taxes and all that's come out. That's net income. That's not adjusted gross income. Kirsten, I saw your hand a second.
It's like your gross pay with adjustments added onto it.
What kind of adjustments, though? It's not taxes coming out. What kind of adjustments would change your adjusted gross income?
Like, say, you gave money to like a church.
That's actually a deduction. It's not necessarily part of the adjusted gross income, Michael.
Isn't adjusted gross income when you like all the little money you get, like if you get like if someone like pays you something or you add money to your bank account?
Oh, you're close. Okay, this is apparently glad we're talking about this term then. Luciana?
It's like your final income after deductions and after you add money.
Well, not after deductions. That would be taxable income after deductions. Okay, so if you had any money from investments that you made on the side, if you had a side job that made some money as well that needed to be added to what was already considered your gross income, or if you put money into retirement, because that's pre-tax. You don't get taxed on money that goes into your retirement account. So that kind of stuff is what affects your adjusted gross income. It's your gross income plus any interest you've earned, any money you made from investments, minus any money you put into your retirement stuff. Okay, amortized loans. What are amortized loans? Let's go to Michael.
Well, like the kind of loans you pay off monthly.
Okay, where it's the same amount every month. There we go. A loan that you have to pay the same amount every month. Credit cards wouldn't be this way because credit card payments, you pay a different amount every month pretty much, okay? But an amortized loan is the same payment every month, over and over and over again. That's an amortized loan. Good. Where the interest kind of gets factored in. What, by the way, class, with an amortized loan, what happens to the interest amount that you pay every month?
It goes
low.
down.
It goes down. The smaller. Well, it's the opposite of compound interest, right? Where compound interest, you gain more and more interest every month or every interest earning period. Amortized loans, the interest goes down every single month, but you just keep paying same amount consistently. A budget. A budget. There we go. Kirsten?
It's like something that you set for yourself, but you like can't go over, like amount of money like that you can't go over.
And the reason you do this is to help you
Save money or
yes, save money. Luciana?
spend money wisely.
It's a plan you put together. It's something you set up for yourself. So it's a plan where you're going to spend money wisely. You're not going to spend too much money in one area where you don't have enough for something else. It's a plan to spend money wisely. Disposable income has to do with the budget. Jalen?
It's like where after you get all your deductions taken out and taxes, that's what's left over.
There we go. It's basically what he said when he described the net pay. It's another name for the net pay. It's what you actually will budget. Right? It's the money you're actually going to put into your budget because the other stuff you didn't have anyway. You only thought you did. You might have earned it, but you didn't get to keep it. So disposable income is the amount of money, the net pay that gets budgeted. What's a down payment, Griffin?
The money you pay up front for like a car or something big.
There we go. Money you pay up front for something big where you might not pay all of it, but you pay a portion of it. And that's that down payment. The rest of it gets amortized where you make equal monthly payments after that. Very good. FICA taxes. FICA tax. There's some details I'm looking for on this. Let's see. Corey, there's two places FICA tax goes. Where does FICA tax go? I mean, it all goes to the government, but for two purposes specifically.
County?
No, you're thinking sales tax. Sales tax goes to the county and the city and stuff. Joel, do you remember what FICA tax is for? It's not just so the government can spend however they want. There's pre-designated things the government has to put that money toward.
They want get money so they can pay the elderly people.
Well, help pay for the elderly people in what two areas?
And security.
Close, you got half of the class. Social Security, that's one of them. That's like their retirement.
And healthcare.
What's their healthcare called, class?
Medicare.
Medicare. Okay, so what are the two things?
Social security and Medicare.
There we go, Social Security and Medicare. Now, the other thing I need you to know about FICA is the percent amount. It's a weird percent. What is that weird percent, Michael?
7.65%.
Class, what is it?
7.65%.
7.65%. And by the way, that's from you. You give 7.65% of your paycheck to the government. But there's another 7.65% class that comes from the
Employer.
employer. He's over here. He's already paid you. And of course, some of your money goes out. He pays an extra 7.65% of your paycheck to the government as well. So the government ends up getting what percent, anyone? 15.3% question.
What's the difference between Medicaid and Medicare?
Medicare is specifically health care for the elderly. Medicaid is for low-income individuals. For instance, my children are on Medicaid because we're a low-income family. So Medicaid is government health care that takes care of low income. Medicare is just for those who reach, I think it's past the age of 65, that helps pay for end-of-life care, things like that. I will say Medicare and Medicaid come with strings attached when you get older, where they can seize property to help pay themselves back. So a lot of elderly people who go on Medicare, before they go on Medicare, they'll give everything they own to everybody else in their family, so they literally own nothing. Then they'll go on Medicare, because if they own anything, once they go on Medicare, the government can seize assets and sell them to recoup money. Which, you think about it, the government's paying all this money to care for you. They should recoup that money somehow, but let's be real. Why would I want the government to own my house? I'd rather my kids have the house, and then they can sell or do what they need to do with it. So, yeah, there's ways around it. But yeah, so Medicare comes with some loopholes there. But yeah, great question. Form 1040. Big thing to know is who fills it out and who does it go to. Who does 1040 go to and who fills out this 1040? Luciana?
Yourself.
You yourself, the taxpayer, fills it out, and who does it go to?
IRS.
The IRS. We're going to get to the IRS in just a moment. And on the Form 1040, that's where you figure out what? What do you actually figure out about your situation when you fill out this 1040 form?
How much money you got last year?
No, that's on a different form, Elaine.
Either taxes still owed or the refund.
There we go. Do you still owe the government money or do they owe you money? That's all figured out on the 1040 form. So you fill it out, it goes to the IRS, and you figure out, do I owe money, which would be sad, or do I get back money, which would be happy? Okay, so the other day, Miss Morse was filling out her, the day where all those juniors and seniors were gone, right? And she took that free period to work on taxes and stuff. She said, yes, I get money this year. Previous year, she would owed money. This year, she got money back, and so she was very happy. And it took her just under an hour to do everything tax-related because she uses tax software. And it's not her first year doing it. So the tax software saves information and makes it easier. All right, Form W-2. Who fills it out? Who gets it? And what's it all about there? What's it with the W-2? Jalen? Other one. The employer, the boss, fills it out.
It
Goes to the employee and a copy to the IRS, but mainly the main thing is the employee gets a copy. And what does it tell the employee?
It tells how much they earned that year.
How much they earned and how much has already gone to the government. Right. From the employer to the employee, how much did you earn? How much did you already pay the government? You use the W-2 to fill out the 1040 form. Does that make sense? Once you got the W-2, you use those numbers to fill out the 1040, and that's how you figure out if you still owe anything. What about the W-4? What about the W-4? When does it get filled out? Who fills it out? And to whom do they give it? Who fills it? When is it filled out? Who fills it out? To whom do they give the W-4? Bryson?
You as a person.
Good. You, the employee, fill it out when?
April.
No, April 15th is W-4.
Um,
And I'm glad you mentioned, or the 1040, excuse me. I'm glad you mentioned that. I should have asked about the 1040. Gotta have that done by April 15th. Good. Okay, so you fill it out though.
Is it like in January?
Well, you fill it out whenever you start a new job. Okay, so W-4 is whenever you start a new job, you fill it out. Who do you fill it out and give it to? Anyone?
Employer.
Employer. It's a form for your employer to know how much tax to take out of every paycheck. Because that really is up to the employer for the most part, how much they're going to take out. You just tell the employer based on this data, you give them the data, they send it to the IRS says this is how much you need to withhold, but it goes to the employer so that they know, hey, I got to hold out this much tax. In general, it says income tax. How would you describe, I mean, you could describe to Chloe, how would you describe income tax to a third grader? Can't get too detailed or technical here, so how would you do that? What do you think, Ben? What's income tax?
Tax.
Yeah, but what is that?
Something you have to pay the government.
Okay, so you pay it to the government. When do you pay it? Or how does the government decide how much they get? Do you just give them as much as you want? Or they take as much as they want? I mean, it feels that way sometimes. But how do they figure out income tax?
Percentages.
So it's a part of what you make, right? That's all income tax is. It's a part of what you make that goes to the government. A percentage, though, is the great word for it. I don't know that I'd use that with Chloe, but a percentage, make sure you're facing the front, of what you make that goes to the government. Installment buying. Installment buying. This is very similar to a term we reviewed a moment ago. What is installment buying? Elaine?
We're supposed to ask you that.
Uh-huh. Is that one you had starred?
Yeah.
Did you look it up over the weekend like you're supposed to? Oh, the truth comes out. Kirsten, help her.
Wait, like, isn't it like your isn't it like another word for like the money that you like owe, like principal?
No. Corey?
Isn't it like a word for like buying
Oh,
time?
Good, buying on time. Again, it's where you make those monthly payments. So installment buying is where you make a monthly payment every month. With the installment buying, it's another, it's where you take out an amortized loan, right? What do we call the interest you pay when you buy on time, when you use an installment plan? What's the interest called? It's got a special name.
Finance charge?
Hey, good, a finance charge. What's it called?
Finance
charge, just another name for the interest you owe. IRS, what does it stand for, Ben?
People.
It doesn't stand for people. Griffin?
Internal Revenue Service.
Good, what does it stand for?
Internal Revenue Service.
There we go, the tax folks. Mortgage. You've seen that term a couple of times. What's a mortgage? We talked about this when we talked about budgeting. What's a mortgage, Elaine?
It's like if you can't buy a house and you like need money, you go to the bank and you get money and then you pay it back with interest.
Yeah, it's a special amortized loan that's used for a house payment, right? So you pay off your house, that's the mortgage. It includes your property taxes, it includes your home insurance, it includes the interest, and of course it includes the principal you borrow. So the mortgage is just a house payment, another way to put it. Sales tax. Sales tax. Who gets it? When do you pay it? Who gets it and when do you pay it? Joel?
The government gets it.
Which government specifically gets sales tax?
The government?
Which government? There's lots of government. There's layers of government. Corey?
The county.
The county and
The city.
sometimes the city and usually the state, the smaller governments, not the big federal government, the smaller, the state, the county, sometimes even the city. And when, back to Joel, when do these places get your money?
When you're shopping.
When you're shopping, when you, class,
Buy
buy
something.
something. When you buy something, they get a percentage of that money. Tax credits, these are happy. There's two main tax credits we talked about, and how does it kind of work here? This is one of the harder ones to describe, but we'll go to Jalen.
It's like whenever you are married or you have kids, like they give you money, but like, it's like they treat you like you've already paid it.
There you go. With taxes, it's money the government acts as if you've already paid them, even though you haven't. And what it does is it reduces how much you owe pretty substantially. So, and again, if you have kids or if you're low income, those are the two big times that you would get one of these tax credits. And it just basically says, we're going to treat you as if you've already paid this money, even though you didn't. And if you're deserving of a refund, we'll give this money back to you, even though you never paid it in the first place. And if you have a lot to owe, and we looked at an example last time, right? The Rockefeller guy, remember he was making buku bucks, and he had a couple of kids. So instead of owing, I think it was like 65 grand in taxes, they said, well, we're going to act as if you paid us 4 grand of it already because you got 2 kids. Okay, so now instead of 65 grand, it's 61 grand that he owed. But it's money the government acts as if you've already paid to them even though you haven't. What about that's where it was, tax deadline. Class, what's the tax deadline?
When your taxes.
But what's the date?
April 15th.
April 15th. I was like, how did I not have April 15th on here? I did. It was called tax deadline. April 15th, tax deadline. And then taxable income. This is what somebody was trying to tell us earlier. Your taxable income. I think it was Kirsten actually started to say something that relates to taxable income.
It's like your principal or something.
Now, principal has to do with interest earning and investments and loans. Ben?
It's just a question.
Oh, okay, question.
What's the difference between income tax and taxable income?
Well, income tax is like the fact that you pay money to the government. Taxable income is, class, the income that they tax, right? But it's not all your income. Okay, so the government doesn't tax everything you earn. They allow you, class, to have a deduction. Right now, there's a standard deduction, but you mentioned something. What if you give a whole lot of money to your, you said it earlier, class? Church. Or other charitable donations, right? The Salvation Army is considered one of these. Goodwill even perhaps. By the way, have any of you seen one of these donate your car, donate your boat? Okay, well, if your boat is worth $8,000, you're like, I never take my boat out anyway. I'm going to give it to Goodwill and let them sell it. Well, that $8,000 you can deduct from your income. Now, your standard deduction if you're married is already $27,700. So the $8,000 boat is less than that. But I mean, if you donated the boat and you donated a car and you gave it to your church and you might have more than $27,700. So you deduct whatever you've given to charity from what you've earned, right? From your adjusted gross income, whatever you can deduct, that leaves you with the income that's actually taxed. That's your taxable income. Does that make sense? And then they charge income tax on the taxable income. Question.
Okay, so is there a way, like, if you had a lot of kids and you made like a lot of donations or whatever, if you could like use all your deductions and put them together and you wouldn't have any tax?
Well, remember, you mentioned having a lot of kids. Okay, remember those are tax credits. That's as if they already. So yes, in theory, yes, that could be. Other than FICA, you always owe FICA tax. Everybody has to pay the FICA tax.
Government's not going to let you.
They're not going to let you, and sales tax, of course, when you buy stuff. So I mean, but otherwise, yeah. As far as income tax, yes, you could get to a point where you owe no income tax. Yeah, good question. All right, let's take a look at the homework now. Flip over to page 32. Flip over to page 32. Let's take a look at problems 3 through 8 that you did for homework. You weren't here. Welcome back, by the way. You got a little carried away and just kept going. Did we not get 7 or 8? Oh, we need to make sure we copy down more carefully next time. It was 3 through 8. All right, go and read problem 3 for us if you would, Ben.
Violet works at a Chick-fil-A as a shift leader. She is paid $15 an hour, and she works 24 hours each week. Find her gross pay, her gross weekly pay, FICA tax withheld, and her net pay if $9 is also withheld for her income tax.
All right, so 15 an hour for 24 hours. What do we do to find her grossly weak, or grossly weak? It might feel that way. Gross weekly pay. Ben, what do we do to find part A?
Multiply
What?
15
Times?
times point set.
For part A, her gross weekly pay. How do we find her gross pay? How much she earned? What do we do?
You multiply 15 times 24.
There we go. Multiply her pay per hour times the number of hours. And what did you get for part A, Ben?
360.
$360. How many had that for part A? $360. All right. Then part B, how much FICA tax is withheld? Well, we know the percentage for FICA tax. Ben, you started to say it a second ago.
7.65.
But we make that a decimal.
0.065.
0.0765. And we multiply that by what?
15.
Ooh, no. How much did she earn?
360.
That's what we multiply by. We multiply the amount she earned. The government's going to take that much of what she earned. So what should we have, Kirsten, for the FICA tax?
$27.54.
$27.54. And then letter C, not only did the government take this for FICA, by the way, how many had that for FICA? Letter B. Okay, good. And then the government also took how much in income tax, Ben?
$9.
Another $9 in income tax. Okay, so the government, she earned $360, they took $27.54 for Social Security Medicare, and they took a $9 for income tax. So what's her net pay for the week? Joel?
Oh wait, no, $36.54.
That's how much they took total. So how much was her net pay? How much did she get to keep? Net pay is what you keep, remember? Elaine?
$323.46.
There we go, $323.46. What did she earn? Minus that, because, government. Minus that, because, again, government. And that's how much she gets to keep. How much had that final answer? $323.46 for number 3. Questions on that? Thinking about a test coming up in just a couple days. Questions. We can be able to do that. All right, let's take a look at letter number 4, rather. Mrs. Kane works part-time as a barista at a coffee shop. She makes $10 an hour plus tips. She worked 6 hours yesterday and got $47.32 in tips. That's pretty good for a 6-hour shift. What's her gross pay? Jalen, what do we have to do?
We have to multiply 10
Well,
times 40. No, 6.
10 times 6 to get.
60.
But then we also have to add in the
47.32.
in tips. So her gross pay is,
$107.32.
there we go, $107.32. How many had that answer on number 4? All right, questions on number 4. Well, let's take a look at number 5. Mr. Sleeth, he's a forklift operator at a warehouse making $15.50 an hour. Warehouse has been busy lately, so he ended up working 48 hours last week. Find his gross wages, assuming the standard overtime rate for hours over 40. Michael, so a few steps here. First, what do we need to do?
We need to find out what he made during the 40 hours. So multiply 1550 by 40.
And what was that? You didn't have that one written down. Anybody got it?
$620.
$620. Okay, so that's the first 40 hours here in 620. That's how much he was expecting to earn that week anyway. But he worked how many overtime hours, Michael?
8 hours.
So he has 8 overtime hours. Now, he doesn't get paid $15.50 for that. What does he get paid for overtime hours, Michael?
I don't know.
Corey has it written down?
$23.
How do we get to it, Michael? Back to you. I think you did this on your calculator. I don't know. How did he get $23.25?
You would cut $15.50 in half and then add it $15.50.
Okay, cut it in half and add it on, or just multiply class by
1.5.
1.5, time and a half. 1.5 would be the same way. That might be a little bit quicker to do it that way. And then we multiply the $23.25 by 8. Does anyone have his overtime pay?
$186.
$186. So, how much was his gross wages then? Back to Michael for the final answer.
$806.
Good, that is correct. How many had the 806? Michael didn't have all those little numbers written down, but he had the final answer correct, 806. All right, questions on this. Questions on overtime. We've done a lot of these by now. You can expect to see one of those on Wednesday. Questions? All right, number 6. Samuel is a realtor who gets 1.5% commission. Shout out to Sam, I am. Samuel's a realtor who gets 1.5% commission. It's a realtor fee on any home he either helps to sell or helps someone to purchase. He helped the Browns to sell their home for $176,400. Find his commission. Griffin, what do we need to do here?
Multiply
What?
the $176,400 to the 1.5, which would become the 0.015.
There we go. Just multiply his rate of commission times the sale price of the home. How much does he get? And again, he was not here, so he's doing it now.
$2,646.
There we go. How many had this answer for number 6? The commission was correct. Now, by the way, that's pretty decent money, especially if you do a couple of these houses every month. So that's why a lot of people want to get into real estate and being realtors, because you can make some pretty decent money selling houses. But what happens on the months you don't sell anything? A little scary, right? So you better be really good at selling or be really wise with your money and set a lot into savings for those dry months where, man, I just cannot seem to sell any houses. I advertise, I do everything I should do, I take the best pictures, I describe it beautifully. By the way, English class, right? Good vocabulary and practicing creative writing helps with advertising, right? So if you're really good at that kind of thing, an advertising gig, make it sound good. Also, used car salesmen are good at that. Anyway, I digress. Number seven. Samuel deposited 25% of his commission from the sale of this house into his savings account. His savings account already had how much before he made the deposit? Bryson.
For 1,400.
Savings already had $1,400 in it. And he's going to deposit. What does it mean to deposit, class? Put money in. He's going to deposit 25% of his commission. So what do we need to do here, Bryson?
Times it by 0.25.
And what do you get when you multiply by 0.25? Do you have that number?
$661.50.
That's what gets deposited. Now he already had $1,400. So what is his new account balance going to be here in number 7, Bryson?
$2,061.
$2,061.50. How many have that answer for number 7? He found the 25% and he added it on to what he already had in the account. Okay, questions on 7? I didn't get as many hands that time. Question. All right. Number 8, Samuel's bank pays 1% interest on his savings account. How much will he earn in 2 months? Now, this wasn't necessarily looking for compounded interest. I didn't say it compounds monthly. So let's just assume simple interest. Woo, it's been a while, hadn't it? What's the simple interest formula, class?
PRT.
All right, together in unison this time. I equals PRT. So, Luciana, if I want to find out how much interest he makes on this savings account, I need to start by plugging in the P. Well, Luciana, what does P stand for?
Principal?
Principal. What is the principal of the savings account?
$2,061.50.
Yeah, this is $2,061.50. Now, if you missed number 7, you're now doomed to miss number 8. So to redo it, if you didn't get 7 right, redo it with us now. What do I plug in for the R, Luciana?
0.01.
0.01, because that's his rate. 1% made into a decimal. Now, here's where it's going to be tough. What's the time that he's earning interest?
1/6 of a year.
It's 2 months, but I love her answer. She didn't say 2 months. Class, what did she say?
1/6 of a year.
1/6 of a year, because time has to be, class, in
Months.
years. Has to be in years. So you can't say 2 for months, you have to say 1/6. Or, what's the easy way to do 1/6?
Divided by 6.
Divide by 6. So you plug all that in, we divide by 6. Luciana, what interest does Sam make on his savings? It's not much, but hey, interest is interest.
$3.44.
$3.44 interest in those couple of months. And by the way, if it had been compounded, it would still pretty much be that same number. It's a small enough amount. So even compounded, it wouldn't have been much bigger than that. Maybe 345, but I doubt it. Questions? How many had the 344 just out of curiosity? Okay, just a couple of you did. Questions on this? All right. Let's look up at number 1 now. Problem number 1. We skipped over 1 and 2 in the homework. Corey, read number 1 for us. Vinaha.
Is a salary of $1,600 twice a month on his annual gross salary.
All right, now twice a month he makes this amount, right? How many months in a year? 12. And if he gets paid twice every month, how many paychecks does he get every year?
24.
24 paychecks. We got that? And every paycheck he gets how much?
1,600.
At your seats. Do number 1. Again, this is how every problem on the test on Wednesday. Think through what's going on. Don't just start doing stuff with numbers. Really think, what's the situation here? Because the actual math isn't going to take you long, right? We all got that. I mean, you've got calculators. The test on Wednesday is not going to take long as far as doing the work. What the 50 minutes is for the test is thinking. What should I do? How do I work with these numbers? What do we get for number 1, Corey?
$38,400.
How many got $38,400? Okay, any questions on number 1? All right, number 2. Read that for us if you would, Elaine.
Miss Schuler is paid $60 per house to clean Airbnb houses. If she cleans an average of 4 houses a day and works 3 days each week, how much does she usually earn in a week?
By the way, what kind of pay does this sound like? It's not something we talk about very often.
Piecework?
Piecework wages. Yeah, you get paid per piece. Now, in this case, the piece is a house you're cleaning, but yeah, it's kind of like piecework wages. $60 a house. On average, when she cleans houses, she does 4 houses each day, and she works 3 days a week. How much does she make each week cleaning Airbnbs? And it really just depends on the person, right? Sometimes you go in, it's like, hey, they were really nice and clean. This place looks good. By the way, there was one time we walked into an Airbnb. How many have been in stayed in an Airbnb? Parents or family have rented a house. Okay, there was one time we went in and it was not good. It was not particularly clean. So we called the homeowner and we let them know we've got all these problems, blah, blah, blah. We cleaned most of it ourselves. And then there were a few things that had to be dealt with by the homeowners, then the property managers. And before we left, we deep cleaned the house one more time. I say we. Give credit where credit's due. My wife deep cleaned the house. She made it really nice. And so I reached out to the property managers after we were done with our stay. I said, hey, when you look at the house, if you think it's cleaner now than when we went in, would you refund our cleaning fee? Because my wife spent a lot of time cleaning that house for you. And they walked in, they said, it's beautiful. Y'all did fantastic. They refunded our cleaning fee. That's like $150. So my wife basically earned $150 for us by cleaning the house herself. So anyway, for what it's worth.
Imagine.
Way to go, dear, way to go. All right, I'm in the garage playing a little basketball game and she's busy scrubbing. Hey, hey, virtuous woman, Proverbs 31 woman right there. She's pretty. All right. All right, anyway, we move on. Back to the problem, yes, that we were working. What do we need to do to figure out how much Miss Schuler earns in a week? Elaine, back to you.
We have to do like 3 times 4, which is 12, and then 60 times 12, which is 720.
There we go. If it's 4 houses a day, 3 days a week, that's 12 houses she usually cleans in a week. And if she gets 60 a house, multiply by 60, what did you get?
$720.
How many also got $720 in the midst of all my talking? All right, questions on number 2. Questions on number 2. All right, number 9. We're going to jump all the way down to number 9. We've already reviewed the simple interest formula. And what is that formula again, class?
IPRT.
All right, where the R needs to be written as a?
Decimal.
Decimal. It's going to be a percent. We make it a decimal by going? And a time has to be in? Well, what's the time on number 9, Joel?
4 years.
4 years. Do we need to change anything, class?
Nope.
No. Luciana had to on that earlier problem where it said 2 months. You can't plug that in. You've got to make it years, 1/6. But if it gives you years, let it be easy. And so what is the simple interest? Calculating it at your seats. We're going to get it from Joel when he's got it. If you borrow $3,000, 12% interest, and you wait 4 years to pay it back, how much interest do you owe, Joel?
$1,440.
There we go. How many? $1,440. Now, question, Joel. How much do you, if you're borrowing this money, how much do you actually pay back in 4 years?
$4,440.
Right. So everyone see, you actually pay back $4,440. Why? Because you have to pay back the $3,000 plus the $1,440. Y'all got that?
Yeah.
So number 10, find the total to be repaid on a simple interest loan of $10,000, 9% interest for 2 years. You borrow $10,000, maybe it's like a home equity loan or something like that, 9% interest, anyway, and 2 years you have before you have to pay it back. How much total do you pay back to the bank? Kirsten, what do we need to do? Talk it through.
Start first, like multiply the 10,000 times the 0.09 times the 2.
Good.
To get 1,800.
Good, and that's the interest. So then,
We added on to the 10,000.
Perfect.
11,800.
how many had $11,800 here? How many at least got the 1,800? Okay, don't forget to add it back to the 10,000. Questions on 10? All right, number 11, Joanna spent $1,682.31, and somebody pointed out I missed a chance. If I just throw a Y in the middle there, I get Joyanna. And anyway, but anyway, Joanna spent $1,682.31 on her credit card last month. She was only able to pay off $500. And her credit card charges 18% interest. What's her bill going to be next month if she makes no additional purchases with this card? What do we need to do here? Jalen?
So I subtracted 500 from $1,682.31.
Good, she pays off 500 of it, right? So she doesn't still owe $1,682.31. She only owes
$1,182.
there we go. This is how much she still owes, but she's going to have to pay interest on that. And so we need to multiply this by what?
0.18
And
divided by 12.
good, 1/12 next month. A month is only a 12th of a year, so really divide by 12. And how much interest is she having to pay?
1737.
I got
73.
73. I'm about to say, either I'm dyslexic or you are. Somebody's dyslexic here. dyslexic, just with letters mixed up. Anyway, sorry. 1773. All right, that's the interest. So what's her actual bill going to be next month? What do we have to do? Back to Jalen?
Add the 1773 the 1,680
There we go. So we figure the interest, we figured what she would still owe after she paid off a good portion of it. It's not all of it by any stretch, but a good portion. Find the interest, add that back onto the principal. If she doesn't charge anything else with that card, what's her bill the next month?
$1,700.04.
I think that's a two, $1,200.04.
I got
You.
1,700.
Oh, no. Don't add back to this. She doesn't owe this anymore. She owes this now. Remember, she paid off that 500. Add it onto this number. Okay, that explains what we did wrong. Add it onto this number. She already paid the $1,682 off.
I got that now.
Okay, makes sense now. How many got the $1,200.04? How many pulled a Jalen and added to the wrong number? All right, questions on that? Questions on that? All right, so good review of interest that we needed to do there. Look at the next page, page 33. We're just going to jump all the way down to the bottom of the page where somebody named Dale E. Payne is going to write a check. And he's filled it out to his church, and it's for the missions budget there. That's his missions offering, his faith promise commitment. I want you to note the directions and completely fill out that check, following all those directions there at the bottom of the page.
What's today?
26.
Yes, ma'am.
Would it matter if you happen to write too big and don't have room for church?
Write small. By the way, this is about the size of an actual check, so it gives you a feel for how small you have to write when you fill out a check. By the way, what instrument, writing utensil, should we be using as we fill out a check?
Pen.
We should put the pencil down and switch it out for a pen, shouldn't we? In a perfect world. Now, as far as testing and quizzing, I wouldn't mark it, but in real life, don't you ever use a pencil for a check. I mean, people can technically wash checks anyway, even if you did use pen, but at least it makes them work for it. A pencil is just asking for somebody to be like, yeah, I got this. Not that that makes it right. It's like, well, they used a pencil, it's their fault. No, if you do it, you're still wrong, you're still sinning.
On the paying the dollars line, do you have to do nothing?
Yes, any number between 21 and 99, remember, uses a hyphen. So now 100 doesn't get the hyphen, but 75, 70-5, goes back to what you talked about in English class at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
How to properly write numbers. You actually have to write slow. Birdsboro, Alabama. Rocky Road. I had some fun putting this together, let's be honest. What should I put after I write Blessed Hope Baptist Church?
Line.
A line. And 175, 2 zeros. When I write it out here, it's 100, not and, 75. Now we write the word and. And how many cents is it?
0.
0 over 100 or x over 100, and then draw the line to finish it out. What should I put in the 4 spot?
Church.
Missions, because it was specifically for missions. And that, by the way, that lets the person at the church know, don't put this in the general fund, put this in the missions fund. Though if they have tithing envelopes, they can use it there too. What goes right here, class?
His name.
His signature. So you could figure out how he signs his name, whatever. Now, the last thing you needed to do, I wanted you to circle the check number. What is the check number, class?
101.
Now, there's 2 places, right? There's the 101 up here, and there's a 0101 at the bottom. Both of those are the check number, right? How many circled both of them? How many circled both of them? How many just circled the one at the top corner? Yeah, that's fine. What? It said the box, the account number. Where's the account number?
The second number in the bottom.
What is the account number, Michael?
Oh, the second number in the bottom.
Right. So what is the actual number?
Oh, 67938681222.
Right, that number should have had the box on it. That's the account number. And then finally it said draw an arrow to the routing number. Where is the routing number, class?
The
First
bottom
one.
one.
It's the first number. What's the actual routing number, Ben?
7489493.
Good, there's your routing number. Questions on filling out checks? Your homework for this evening, no math. I want you to do the matching section right above the check, 1 to 15. Do just that matching section at the top of page 33 and study. Go back through during study hall, tonight at home, reread through the little blurbs at the top of each of these pages. Just read through them real quick, just as a refresher to yourself. Tomorrow, we finish reviewing. We've been reviewing for a little bit now. Wednesday is your test. That's in lesson 123. Have a wonderful rest of your day. You are dismissed.